A tough route, all 6 national championships still up for grabs, fired up drivers and crews, and a new innovative spectator area just 10 kilometers from the finish. That's what the 2008 Toyota Dealer 400 in Leidenburg and Mpumalanga on October the 10th and 11th offers. The 7th and penultimate round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship will be more spectator-friendly than ever before, while teams will be impressed with a route layout that boasts new roads, 50% of which they've never turned a wheel in anger on before. Off-road enthusiasts can certainly count on these new sections to entertain and highlight the tight racing that has been a hallmark of the 2008 season. Chief organizer, the wily and experienced Willie du Plessis of the South African Motor Club, has a few nice surprises and ups and downs in store for the drivers and their faithful navigators, which include some uncompromising terrain and very dry testing countryside. Off-road fans from Mpumalanga, Limpopo and Gauteng, who always undertake the journey to see the Toyota Dealer 400 up close, will find that it's even more spectator-friendly than in previous years due to a brand new innovation. A large and major spectator and VIP area approximately 10 kilometers from Leidenburg on the Roos-Senekal Road, where the cars will whiz by 4 times. At the end of Loop 1, crews will from there then head for the designated service park at the Leidenburg Rugby Club. Another new idea which the organisers have presented is that the 75-kilometre prologue on Friday to determine start positions for the race proper will not form a part of the main route. The prologue will start 6 kilometres from Leidenburg Toyota on the Dahlstrom Road. The route is a tough one. It will leave drivers, navigators and their service crews exhausted at the end of the 2 days of competition. The first of the 2 loops will again run in the Roos-Senekal area. This section is almost 160 kilometers long and takes in some spectacular new areas with breathtaking scenery, particularly in the vicinity of the Walkersons Resort near the trout fishing haven, Dahlstrom. The second loop will once again include the daunting, tight, twisty and turny forest sections in the vicinity of the famous, or should that be infamous, Long Tom Pass. This loop will start with a short racing section before a decontrol that will take crews into the forests for a truly tough 145-kilometer section. For Toyota, motor racing has been a great factor in establishing the brand on the local scene.
The history in motorsport with Toyota comes from the brand image. It was one of the things that actually established Toyota in this country. And if you ask anybody about Toyota in off-road or rallying, they will immediately associate the brand. And that is why, as far as I'm concerned, it is very important that we continue that heritage and that we continue with the brand building that it does. 2 or 3 of the things that we are very proud of is what we called QDR, and that's quality, durability and reliability. Those are the pillars of the brand, and I think racing, and especially off-road as well as rallying, proves that, because it's in those sports that you actually prove how, the durability of your brand, of your vehicles, the quality of your vehicles and the reliability of your vehicles. And obviously motorsport is a good venue for us to, in the case of Hilux for instance, to bring forward the toughness, the legendary toughness of Hilux. And that is part of our whole advertising and communications strategy.
How does Toyota go about putting that all out there? It's obviously done on many fronts, like the dealers, for instance.
Okay, when we do a motorsport program, we obviously involve all the different sections of Toyota in it, and from it's not just PR, it's also communications and marketing and also advertising, and our dealers have a major role to play because in the end they are our agents, they are the people that actually sells the brand, and that is where people go to actually get their vehicle from the showroom floor. So for us, we need to have our dealers on board. They must understand what we're trying to do. They must understand the message that we want to create, and we want them involved in this whole process. Because in the end, if they don't buy into this, then we are not going to get the message through to the customer.
Toyota is setting the pace in the Manufacturers' Championship. The privateers have come to the party as far as this is concerned.
We're in a fortunate position. We are leading the Manufacturers' Championship, I think by 40 points or something like that. And the reason for that is that we not only have our formal, call it the manufacturers team, we also have privateer teams. And that is part of the whole package, that the way that we run our motorsport is to get the privateers involved and help them and make sure that they can compete at the highest level, that they have vehicles that are competitive. And by doing so, normally we pick up a lot of points through the privateers that other teams don't. So, from that angle, yes, it's definitely worthwhile doing it this way around. But I think off-road this year has been fantastic because of the competitiveness of it. Yes, Nissan is still tops, but I think Ford and us has come much closer. And it's just a question of time. I mean, we've had a couple of victories. Mark has done a good job in the Eastern Cape, for instance. It's been a very close call at some stages. I mean, I remember Sugar Belt, it was very, very close. Also in the Toyota 1000, I mean, Mark was right up there until the end. So, yes, I think we've got a good series. And I think it needs to stay like this and be competitive, because that is what makes it the spectacle that it is, and that's what makes it, popular among the public.
The competitiveness in off-road is scintillating, and in the Production Vehicle Championship, the fans can expect a battle of epic proportions. In fact, the championship contenders will be chewing their nails right down to the quick in Lydenburg. There are only 6 points that separate the top 3 drivers in the SP class standings. The dices are rolling, and no one knows how they will fall. The reigning champion Duncan Foss in a fire engine red Sasol Nissan Navara leads the championship by only 4 points from former champion Neil Woolridge in the factory Ford Racing Ranger. 4-time champion Hannes Grobler in a second works Nissan is in turn just 2 points adrift, and that spells a look over the shoulder drive for stablemate Foss and the Ford veteran. In the Co-Drivers' Championship, the battle is just as tight. Kenny Scholthammer, who shares the cab of the Ford with Woolridge, leads Nissan Johan Moore, who rides alongside the crafty Grobler, by a scant 2 points. Then, of course, there's a situation brought about by overseas travel commitments, which have twice seen Foss's co-driver Ralph Pitchford having to miss events so far this season. He is 23 points back. And don't forget, the organisers have come up with a wicked plan to make it even more interesting. Teams are obliged to drop 1 out of the 8 race-long series in the points-gathering process towards the 08 ABSA Off-Road Championship trophies. But hold on to your hat. The waters are even further muddied by the fact that Foss and the Ford crew both boast a 100% finish record so far this season. And thus they will have to drop 1 event from the overall tallies. Does it take off pressure or add to it? For their part, Grobler and Moore cannot afford another did not finish on their report card, like they did at their own event, the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 in KwaZulu-Natal. And just to put another spanner in the works, if you'll pardon the pun, all of the above-mentioned championship contenders and their crews will be all too aware of the severe threat posed by the 2 poised factory Castrol Toyotas, as if there wasn't enough pressure already. Rally and off-road star Mark Grenier and his co Chris Birkin have already won once this season, and they, along with newcomer Anthony Taylor and veteran nav Robin Houghton, desire nothing more than to pick up a victory in a Toyota-sponsored event. If the 2 Castrol Toyota Hilux crews can see out the distance without any serious mishap, it may just be a second win in Lydenburg. And in the prestigious South African Manufacturers Championship, Toyota is trying their damnedest and plan to hold on to their lead. The Johannesburg-based team enjoys a 40-point lead over arch rivals Nissan, and the Toyota Dealer 400 is certainly the ideal platform for Toyota to increase that margin. The Hiluxes have proved to be very reliable in 2008, and the addition of Taylor to the driver lineup has brought stability to the red, green and white liveried outfit under the guidance of manager Wami Haddad. The super production car class is ultra competitive, and it's almost guaranteed the winner should come from the factory entries. Ivar Tollefson and Quinn Evans in a third Sasol Nissan Navara could come into the reckoning. But contrast that to the depth of Toyota. They will be looking for top 5 finishes from Hichu and Jaap de Bruin in the Michelin Excel dealer team Toyota, who have been in exceptionally good form. Then there's the Castrol Toyota of the tenacious Chris Visser, who is in car with Jaapie Badenhorst. While the new kids on the block, Mike Tomset and Brian Haviland, have been impressive in the all-new Feltex Imperial Toyota Hilux. For Toyota, sheer weight of numbers is a plus factor in the manufacturer's title race. For the Ford squad, additional backup comes in the form of Kobus van Tonda and Rian Guapa, who have been models of consistency in the Unifreight Ford Ranger. And then there's Mark Ferguson and Craig West in a second factory entry who will be looking for a good result. Ferguson is currently 10th in the national title race. Back for Toyota, and Chris de Plooy and his navigator Ewald van Rensburg will trot out the new RFS Toyota in its distinctive black and orange colours for only the second time. With a husband and wife team, George and Sharon Barkhuizen and the Rokon Toyota have also improved in leaps and bounds in 08, right in the mix. And let's not forget about Janku Swanepoel and Keith Solomon in the IDM Cement entry, who have been rock solid but will want to do some giant killing in Lydenburg. On to Class D, and how this race has hotted up as the season has got older. Here the experienced brothers Henry and Maurice Matten in their red Ryobi Nissan hardbody have just a 15-point cushion. But is that enough to sit comfortably? Because Kutsiela Beskachny and Johan Gerber in their Raysonics Nissan hardbody will surely have other plans. Reigning Class D drivers champion Cliff Weichelt and Nico Els in the N1 4x4 Toyota Hilux could certainly be a threat too. Granted, it's been a rather disappointing season for Weichelt, but a win would go a long way towards salvaging some pride. While the pride of Delmas husband and wife team Ramon and Maret Besaidnout in the Team Barberspan Toyota Hilux are a further 20 points in arrears. Quite frankly, nothing is settled in Class D. The Zermattens may or may not be the favourites, but it's tough to overcome their consistency. Henry leads the championship by 15 points, and after a rather dodgy start and some teething problems with the Nissan, they've picked up 3 good results in a row. They've got the hard body listening to them now. As for the Besaidnouts, Ramon and Moretta finished the last 3 races in a row after losing out in the Western and Eastern Cape as well as KwaZulu-Natal, but they're learning all the time and should be there or thereabouts. A pocket calculator may be a handy accessory in Class E. The experienced Jannie Visser and Yorks Leroux have a tight hold on the Class E championship, and the Team Barberspan Toyota Hilux pair won't be looking to perform any heroics, but a solid finish and a rich haul of points will be their sole aim. The colourfully turned out Potch Plastics Toyota Hilux pairing of rookie Dewald van Breda and Johan de Tooy will certainly fancy their chances for the same. While Jack Peckham and his trusty navigator Lucio Santoro and their Ford Racing Ranger will be looking to rescue what has been a rather disappointing 2008 on the off-road circuits of Southern Africa. Dion Venter and Ian Palmer are probably still celebrating as the 4x4 Mega World Toyota team scored their first win on the recent Limpopo 400 and will be looking to produce a repeat performance of said win in Lydenburg. Like Beckham and Santoro, the Baden Tyre Services Nissan pair of Thomas Rundle and Rob Howie will be keen to rescue something, actually anything, from a disappointing season so far, but in off-road, it's never too late. Lydenburg has great memories for the defending champion Foss. He did, after all, wrap up last year's title here, but there's no chance of that happening this time round. What is certain is that the Toyota Dealer 400 will go a long way towards deciding the ultimate destination of this year's overall and SP class championships. Foss leads by just 6 points, with a menacing stablemate Grobler poised to strike.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Goings from ABSA.